Batman is relaxing in the Batcave watching a hockey game between Metropolis and Gotham. And while he's watching this match, he's messing around with a weird button with a blood stain that he had found earlier. Just messing around with the button, watching the game go on, before eventually he decides to just turn off the TV altogether and throw the button to the side, before the button would do something that would change him forever. While Batman was walking away from the button would shock him when he least expected it, and the button would make him have a hallucination of the Flashpoint Batman, Bruce Wayne's father, Thomas Wayne, and this would freak Batman out. After seeing the hallucination of his father, Bruce would call Barry Allen, the Flash, and ask Barry to get here to help him investigate what was going on with the button. And Flash said that while he's busy at the moment, he told Bruce to give him 1 minute and he'll be there at the Batcave. But in the next panel, we see a spark of lightning come behind Batman, and Batman says, "You said a minute. Of all people, Flash, I didn't expect you to be early." But we realize immediately afterwards that it's actually not the Flash. Quite the reverse, actually. The Reverse Flash sends Batman to the floor, and he begins to monologue about how he should be dead, but something woke him up and called out to him, something that he is going to try and find for himself. Batman then tries to lunge at the Reverse Flash to try and get him to the ground, but the Reverse Flash easily dodges through this, and he begins to laugh at Batman, saying, "Oh, do you want to fight more?" and immediately hits Batman with multiple hard hits, sending Batman reeling and bleeding profusely. After the flurry of punches are thrown at Batman, the Reverse Flash sarcastically asks Batman if he's, quote, still alive. Batman then spits on the Reverse Flash with blood, and the Reverse Flash says, "How fun," and then proceeds to throw Batman across the Batcave until something catches his eye, temporarily stopping the beating Batman is receiving. The thing that got the Reverse Flash's attention is the letter that Thomas Wayne's Batman wrote to Bruce Wayne's Batman at the end of Flashpoint. The Reverse Flash would mock Thomas Wayne over this letter, calling it a lot of things and making fun of Thomas Wayne, saying that, "Did this make you feel better, Thomas? As you burned?" And then after this, he would tear the letter right in front of Bruce, making him furious. The Reverse Flash would then go on to mock Batman, telling him how he can't hit him, he can't even touch him, and calling him the baby bat. But Batman would reveal an ace up his sleeve, saying that the Reverse Flash can only phase whenever there's solid ground. Batman would then proceed to stab the Reverse Flash in the foot, and finally, for the first time in this entire fight, land multiple clean hits on the Reverse Flash. The Reverse Flash, though, would send Batman flying with a thunderclap and freeing himself from the batarang that had him stuck to the ground. Batman would then tell the Reverse Flash to get out of his cave, and the Reverse Flash would shoot back with him saying, "You can't win this, you know this, right?" And Batman saying, "Oh, I don't have to win, I just have to keep you stalled for a few more seconds." Both men would then charge at each other, and both Batman and the Reverse Flash would get multiple hits on each other, until eventually the Reverse Flash would finally have enough and beat Batman near to death, before Batman finally says, "1 second," and then the Flash doesn't show up. And Batman retorts, overtime. The Reverse Flash would then knock out Batman with a huge punch and leave Batman near dead, all bloody and beaten in the Batcave. After the Reverse Flash beat Batman, Reverse Flash would try to pick up the button that Batman had been missing with at the beginning of the comic and ask, "Now, what is the mystery of you?" before being teleported away and the Batcave being left empty for a few seconds, before the Reverse Flash would come back a second later, barely alive, claiming that he saw God, before collapsing on the ground, dead. The Flash would show up a second later, telling Bruce that he's sorry for being late. He was trying to save someone else from dying, but just like him being here, he was just too late. And he would run into the scene of Batman barely alive and the Reverse Flash dead on the ground.